Good morning. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Oh my gosh. I am back in my regular spot. And I got to tell you, hello, Lauren. We have Tiggy. We have Linda. I have to tell you, I love cooking with you guys, but sometimes it's a little hard to move spots because I'm such a creature of habit. I'm all like, I like my spot. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure out my cooking location, and I need to figure out my makeup for today because I tried to do something new today. And what I came up with is that because you know how I do the underpainting where I put the contour on and then I put the highlighter on and then I put my foundation over or my like BB cream over the top of that. Well, I came up with this idea and I'm like, oh my gosh, Lonnie, you're such a genius. Why don't you put your black eyeshadow on first and then do like an underpainting and then put your eyeshadow over the top of that? I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a genius. Nobody has thought of this before. I am going to be revolutionary. Well, it didn't work. And now I'm struggling with like a real dark kind of eyeshadow in the corner of my eye. So I'm like, I gotta fix this. So I'm gonna talk to you while I try to fix my eyeshadow hack that I thought was going to be just groundbreaking, and it did not work. Hello, Tracy. So, but that's just the beautiful thing about makeup is that if you don't like it, you can always remove it and try again. And I just don't want to give up on my makeup. I just like experimenting with it. And I know that in theory, the idea that I came up will work, but I just have to do it to the point where I don't walk around and look like I've got like somebody punched me in my eyes. So I'm trying to blend it in with the little bit of the pinker eyeshadow, and we'll see what happens. And if not, then what I'll do is I will just leave it alone and start our live and tell you all experiment with makeup. Have fun. Don't let anything hold you back because you're afraid it's not going to work out, because I am the living embodiment of trying new things, and if they work out, great, and if they don't, then you know what? It is equally as great. So happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. We are going to be talking about tattoos today and placements and stuff like that, but we have all sorts of things to talk about. Tattoos included, but there's just a lot of things going. Tracy says it looks fine. Okay, I know I'm being a little critical on myself, but I just did a TikTok live, and the entire time I was on TikTok, I was like, screech, 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 screech. So I think it looks better now. When like 15 minutes ago, it was just really super black and then it stopped. So you just have to make sure that you blend it in. But like I said, I am going to get this done. Now, I have green eyes and I absolutely love the color of this MAC eyeshadow. And the color is completely faded off. But what I'll do is I will tag it down below. But it's this really pretty pink, and I think it really makes your eyes pop. And I like pink eyeshadow, but sometimes I don't really like the super light pink. I like a little bit more of like a softer mauve, and this is exactly what that is. So, breathe, Lonnie. I did a poll on my channel. I told y'all I was going to do a poll, and I put that up. And what the poll was asking your opinion on some video ideas. And the 3 ideas that I put up was 1, a day in the life, where you follow me around and I show you what I do kind of like on a random day. The second one was a makeup tutorial, because You know what? If you've been watching for the last, let's see here, the last 4 minutes and 45 seconds, you know what an expert I am on makeup. But personally, I think that's what makes it entertaining is that I am learning makeup instead of being like, hi, I am a makeup professional and I just do it really super easy and it works out great every time. Because I see those videos all the time and they make it look so incredibly easy. And then I go running into the bathroom and I try to implement exactly what they're doing. And I end up with Tony the Tiger eyes where I've got stripes everywhere. So I personally, I like talking about makeup just in the context that I am not a professional, but I'm not giving up. And then the last topic that I put up on the poll was shopping adventures. Now, so far, a day in a life is winning at 63%. And then the shopping adventures at 28%. And then the poor little makeup little tutorials are coming in last at 9%. So you can look forward to a day in the life here sometime later this week. I'm actually recording it today. So you're going to see what my day looked like all day today. I started filming at 4:21 this morning, and I want to kind of play around with it and make it entertaining for you. And I want it to be like you are literally with me, hanging out with me for the day. And so I'm really curious to see how that's going to turn out, and I'm super excited to be filming that one. So that's what I'm doing. And then tomorrow, I believe, yeah, tomorrow I am going to head over to H&M and I'm going to try on those styles that are just blaringly not, in my opinion, not attractive. And I'm going to see if they're better on or do they look like they look on like they do on the hanger. So I want to start doing more like actually going on an adventure and solving shopping mysteries. And I'm putting on some NYX oil because I went nude on my lips today and I just want to make sure that they don't like fade away. I want you to be able to see I want to be bright and shiny for you today. So yeah, I thought we could, like solve a shopping mystery or something. Add a little like intriguingness to those shopping videos because I see shopping videos all the time and I've done them myself where you just walk in and you're like, this is new, they have this, they have that, and those are fine and I really enjoy doing those. But I think it would be fun to add a little bit more context every once in a while and be like, hey, I saw this online, let's go see if it's what it looks like in the store. And I'm going to go into this H&M video with the mindset of I'm going to really truthfully try to make this cute and I'm really going to try to make this my style, because I don't want to go in and just be like, oh, look at this the style I don't like and then make fun of it, because there's no fun in that. I mean, that's just like shooting fish in a barrel. Anybody can do that, but I really want to go and see if I can't style it in a way that is cute. And I thought that would be fun. So Tiggy says, I worked at Sephora for years and I would never do a tutorial. People are too mean on this app. Tiggy, the thing is and I think you should, because you do have knowledge and, you can't let mean people stop you. Because if I let mean people stop me, I would not be where I am today, because people are really mean, but it has nothing to do with me. I mean, mean people are going to be mean regardless as to what you do. So, and that's just the whole thing. And that is why, and truthfully, that is why I always tread a little carefully when I get all worked up over these over 50 videos that I've been talking about, because I don't want to be mean to these ladies. I don't want to make them feel like they make me feel. if that makes any sense. I don't want to, it would be super easy for me. Again, it would be so easy for me to stitch these videos and be like, that style is ugly, or don't tell me to wear that because I don't like that. That makes you look old. That would be easy. I could do that all day long, but I don't want to do that because there are women out there who wear that. And there are women out there who like themselves when they wear that. And I don't have any more right to try to make them feel bad about their style choices as they are making us feel. So, and I'm not going to stoop to their level. All right. I am not going to be like, well, you're trying to make me feel bad, so I'm going to make you feel bad. We don't win that way. We don't have growth that way. We don't inspire people that way. What that does is that just drives the two sides even farther apart. So I'm always very careful when I'm talking about these things because I don't want to insult anybody's fashion. My whole idea is to wear whatever you want at any age and feel good about yourself. And if that includes wearing dull beige clothing, then go for it. I say I support you. I applaud you. Just give me the same courtesy back. All right? Because it seems like they're very what's the word I'm trying to say? They are very, oh gosh, they get really like hostile about if you try to wear anything other than what they're trying to tell you to wear. So I am again on a mission to not make anybody feel bad, but to support women in their own individuality and show you on a daily basis that you can be whoever you want to be, period. End of story. Deep breath, Lonnie. As I just spit. So I did find another video that we're going to be talking about on Thursday, because while I'm trying to do this nicely, I am far from even getting started on this subject. And the video that we're going to be talking about and I'm going to be answering is a video that I found of things not to wear over 50, but then she gives her suggestions about things to wear. I do not watch these things until the morning of the live because I want to have that fresh reaction. I want to be able to come on here and be like, I am so angry. Because if I watch it today, I'm just going to stew on it for 2 days. But I'm really curious, like if she's going to tell me I can't wear cropped band tees, which is exactly what I'm wearing today, what is she going to tell me I can wear? So I'm super excited. I'm super excited to do this. It also comes with a grain of salt that I know I'm going to be really angry for the next 2 days following that. And then tomorrow for our makeup, what I decided to do is I saw a filter on TikTok, and it's a filter of how you can contour and put on your blush to make you look like Barbie, because Barbie is all the rage. I mean, that movie's coming out. You had Barbie Core Pink last year. You have Barbie this, Barbie that, Barbie, Barbie, Barbie. And there were Barbies when I was a kid. I never played with them. I had one. I never was like all into the Barbie princess, or, like the Barbie house with the Barbie car and there was Ken. That wasn't me. I liked to play with Hot Wheels, and I would go out in the yard and I would make a road in the dirt with my 2 fingers and I would play with my Hot Wheels. So I don't really get the whole Barbie mania right now, but I thought it would be fun to try to do the contouring like the filter shows and see if they can make me look like Barbie. And not that I want to look like her, but I thought it would be a fun thing to try. So tomorrow I'll be popping on with just my eye makeup on. We'll see. Yeah, it looks much better than it did earlier, but we're going to do the Barbie concealer hack to see if we can make me look like Barbie. Even though I in a million years never aspire to look like her. I am going to be doing that. So, a couple of things that are going on in the world. Oh my gosh. Have you heard or read about that? Oh, okay. Linda says, I never had a Barbie, preferred my zoo animals. I was all about stuffed animals. I had those little like glass, like little animal figurines. Oh, yeah. No. And then I had those, remember the plastic horses? And they were really cute plastic horses. And I had an Appaloocha? How do you pronounce that? Well, I had this horse. It's that black horse that has a white behind with the little spots on it. An Appaloosa. That's what it is. I had that little horse. It was a plastic figurine horse. And, I, for some reason, thought I was going to sleep with the horse. And apparently its ear went up my nose and gave me a bloody nose in the middle of the night. And then my mom wouldn't let me sleep with it anymore. And I was totally bummed. And yes, I was that type of child who apparently, I don't know how its nose went up my ear or its ear went up my nose, but it gave me a bloody nose. And that made me sad because I couldn't sleep with it anymore. So things going on in the world. Okay. And this freaks me out. And I've been talking about it all morning. And Robert and Brandon are absolutely tired of me talking about it. But there's that submarine that went down to look at the Titanic, and now the submarine is missing. And it just freaks me out because I am so anti-small spaces that I couldn't even imagine willingly getting into a little submarine to go all the way down to the bottom of the ocean in a cramped little quarters. So my heart goes out to all of the family of all of the missing. But I personally, could you do it? I mean, I can't. I couldn't do it. Even thinking about it gives me the willies, and even thinking about it makes me break out into a cold sweat. And yeah, that is crazy. It's got to be in the wreckage somewhere. You know what? If they can't find it, but here's the thing, Tiggy. I know the Titanic is huge, but do you think that they took that little submarine in there? Or do you think it's it failed and went down even farther? Or I don't know. It's so weird that they can't find it because you would think that there would be some sort of tracking on it, kind of like somebody has to have an air tag. Just something like that. It's can't somebody find somebody's phone and ping their phone? Terry says, nope, couldn't do it. I am right there with you. And I even look did you ever go to Disneyland and remember there was Captain Nemo's Lagoon? And you would get into the submarine and the submarine didn't even go all the way under the water. It was always the top part of it was always out of the water, but it felt like you were underneath the water. As a kid, I was like, no, I'm going to save my e-ticket ride for something else. And I've always been very, very I don't want to go into small spaces. Tiki says it's run by a video game controller. It's so insane. So is there somebody on a boat controlling it, or are they controlling it themselves? Which you're just making it sound even more and more not attractive. That I again, more and more reasons. But okay, so I don't like confined spaces, and I would not want to go underneath the water to look at the Titanic. While again, it sounds really cool and amazing, this girl cannot do it. But neither can I. No, it was on board. Okay. No, I'm just going to say right now, no. I will sit on the boat and watch the video, but I am not that adventurous. So the complete opposite of being freaked out by those smaller spaces going underwater, I no more could do that than I could get into a hot air balloon. Because I had one in my backyard yesterday. They launch hot air balloons around my house all the time. And I can sit in my backyard, and I can watch the hot air balloon to the point where I can hear people talking. And I can't understand what they're saying, but I can hear like up in this hot air balloon. And I'm like, y'all are crazy. Don't you realize that you are being held up by a balloon in a wicker basket and you have an open flame? I mean, one, two, three strikes, you're out. No, I couldn't do it. So then I hear this, and then instantly I knew there's a hot air balloon somewhere. And also, too, Indy's like, hot air balloon. And she goes running. She hides under Robert's bed. Um, yeah. So Terry says, I have a hard time watching the news talk about it. I turn the channel. I've only read a little bit about it. So I too, just like you, Terry, I don't think I could watch. Yeah, no. So, okay. So I'm in the backyard or I hear that noise. Indy goes running and I go outside to check out the balloon. Cause you know what? I always want to see it, even though I wouldn't do it. And the balloon is like stuck in one spot. And they keep making the flame go psh, and then the balloon goes up and then the balloon comes down. I'm like, is the balloon supposed to move? And then they hit the flame again. The balloon goes up, the balloon comes down. And I'm like, if I were on there, I'd be like, excuse me, where's the emergency exit? I'm like, I want out of this balloon. So apparently I would not consider myself a thrill seeker. I like safety. And it kind of is funny because you look at me and I look like I would be like all like wild and crazy. People tell me that all the time because of how many tattoos I have and the way I dress, the way I have my hair. But seriously, at the end of the day, give me a comfortable couch with a blanket and Netflix, and I am the happiest camper ever. I don't want to go out there and try extreme things. It's not in my personality. I've lived a very dangerous life with my drinking and my addictions and all of that, and I don't want to push it anymore. I don't want to live on the edge anymore. I want to live on the couch with my blanket and my puppy, and that is exactly what I plan on doing. Linda says I would never go up in a hot air balloon too exposed. See, total stereotyping. Yeah, Tracy, it is absolutely 100% that way. Linda, to me, it's not that I'm exposed. It's just that they don't have any controls. There's no steering. It is all about the balloon, the flame, the gas, and the wind. And to me, it's like, nah, I need a gas pedal. I need brakes. I need steering. And to me, it's like, there's too much up to chance. So I've seen balloons land in other people's backyards or on the street. And I'm like, nope, I am perfectly okay. And Tracy, you are absolutely correct. It is total stereotyping. And when I was younger and when I was drinking, it absolutely was thrown into my face a lot because I would go out to bars with friends. And I had a fair amount of tattoos back then, not as many as I have now, but I had a fair amount. And every single time I got labeled as the crazy and wild one because of my tattoos. And I'm like, no, I'm just the sad and lonely drunk who would rather be home. I'm not wild and crazy. So that in itself has taught me to try to not make quick judgments on other people, because I'll tell you right now, sometimes I do find myself doing that and it really upsets me. And when I do that is like when I'm walking into a place that I'm not super comfortable with, like Anthropology the other day, or when I go into like the nail salon and there's a slew of women my own age who don't look like me. I automatically assume they're going to judge me. But I think what's happening is I'm actually judging them. I'm judging them as much as they're judging me. So I'm really trying to work on that to where I'm not going to I'm not going to have this preconceived notion as to what anybody's going to think about me. I will just let them disappoint me individually instead of lumping everybody together. Tracy says you are an adventurous in more fashionable way. Absolutely. You know what? That's just the thing. That's just the thing. I don't have anything to prove to anybody, and I don't have anything to prove to myself. So like I said, I have lived a dangerous life that I no longer need to live. Nope. Just ain't going to do it. And then the last thing I want to talk about before we really talk about the tattoo subject for today is that because I always search like what's being searched, what's being talked about on Google search. It's a really interesting place for me to get like these ideas of what are people talking about. And one of the things is that there was an actor named Cody Longo. I had never heard of him before, but that doesn't mean that he wasn't a known actor. But he passed away earlier this year, and they just released his cause of death. And his cause of death was from chronic alcohol. And it really, according to the LA Times, he passed away from chronic alcohol use, and he was only 34 years old. And I touch on this subject occasionally, and I'm going to touch upon it again really quick before we talk about tattoos. But alcoholism and alcohol in itself is such a huge issue, but it is so socially acceptable that we don't look at it like the fentanyl addictions happening in San Francisco or all of the major cities. It's so much more socially acceptable that if you have a friend that's an alcoholic, you're like, oh, well, she just drinks a lot, or she's just the life of the party, or, you know, you can do this, or I can stop anytime. And truthfully, a true alcoholic, that's not the case. All right. People drink themselves to death. It had a statistic that I want to share with you. And it says 140,000 people die every year from alcohol abuse. It is the fourth leading preventable death. And that says a lot right there. So my whole reason for talking about this is one, just we think about like alcohol killing us when we're older. All right. We think about like, you know, my Uncle Lou, he drank his whole life. He was 80 and he died from liver failure, whatever. But that's not necessarily the case. As you can tell right here, he was only 34 years old. So if you're out there and you're younger and you are abusing alcohol, there's no guarantee that you're going to have tomorrow. Yeah. Linda says, that's so sad. If alcohol was invented today, it would be banned. It should. I mean, there's just so much more toxicity about it than society lets on. And you know what? It needs to stop being glorified in the media, in movies, in just everything. But it's glorified. I mean, how many movies do you watch and how many shows do you watch where the main character comes home to relax and they have a glass of wine? And you know what? In theory, there's nothing wrong with that. If you can come home occasionally and have a glass of wine, put it down and live the rest of your life, that's not alcohol abuse, all right? Alcohol in moderation, like very often, while it's not great for your body, it's not going to kill you either. But it's when you have that alcohol abusing way of your brain, when you are drinking yourself silly every single night, it is going to wreak havoc on your body. I mean, I drank, an 18-pack of beer a night. On a good night, on a night that I considered myself abstaining from alcohol, is when I would only drink a 6-pack. And so there was long-term damage that I perhaps have done, that I could have done if I hadn't have quit. So I just want to just take this as a moment for a PSA that if you're out there, regardless of your age, if you are, Valerie says, so sad, I hate alcohol abuse. Absolutely. But if you're out there and here's the thing. It's like, if you are that person who I said can come home occasionally, have a glass of wine, put it away, and you don't think about it again for another couple of weeks, you're fine, all right? Or you should be fine. There's no real huge red flags. But if you find yourself consuming alcohol on a daily basis, and not only are you consuming alcohol, but the desire for alcohol consumes you, then you have a problem and you deserve happiness and you deserve sobriety. So, thinking about Cody and him losing his life at 34, I just want to let you know that it's never too late to start getting help. It's never too late to start helping yourself. And if by hearing this is what's going to get you to start thinking about getting some help, I am all here. I'm here for you, and I'm here to remind you that it's okay. Valerie says, so grateful for your sobriety, Lonni. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, you would not like non-sober Lonni. She was not nice. Tracy says, it's been 26 months. I've been opioid free. Awesome. I became addicted after surgery, and I understand the struggle with addictions. Yes. And congratulations, Tracy. That is really, really cool. And it's so weird. And it's such a minute change in your thinking pattern from where you're like doing something on a daily basis, like if you have to take a pain medication, or you're going to come home and you're going to have that drink. Yes, well, I agree. Well done, Tracy. And you're going to come home and you're going to have that glass of wine. It is like such a blink of an eye, or a little flutter, or just like a moment in time where it goes from that to you can't control it anymore. That it goes from that to full when did this happen? And so we never it's not a slow motion progression. It is a blink of an eye and you lose control. Tracy says 22 years of addiction and I'm finally free. I am so blessed. That is so, I mean, that is just amazing. And you are free of it and you are blessed. And I absolutely love when people share these kind of stories, because we're not alone. There are people out there struggling over all sorts of things. So don't ever think of oh my gosh, I should have seen that happen, or why did I let that happen? I'm telling you right now, again, you can go from being fine one moment to just having a problem the next. If you find yourself that you have a problem, reach out, get help. Hey, Courtney, reach out, get help, talk to somebody. Do not be embarrassed by it. Don't be ashamed. It is a part of your life, and absolutely 100% go on that journey of making yourself okay. Period. 100%. And again, you are my hero, and sobriety is our superpower. All right, so now we're going to talk about some tattoos. Now that we've talked about submarines, hot air balloons, and addiction, I think that this is going to just absolutely go right into our subject for today, and that's tattoos. And what I want to talk about mostly is tattoo placement. Sometimes I think that we have a little bit of our idea of tattoos and placements a little backwards. And by that, I mean, I know myself, I've been very guilty about this. I will pick a tattoo design, picture. I'll get the idea of what I want in my head first. And then I'm like, and I'm going to put it here. And I'm like, this in theory should be great. And then I talked to my artist about it. I'm like, hey, you know what? I want this size tattoo and I want you to put it right here. And they're like, no, we can't do that. I can't shrink it up that much. It's not going to look okay. It's going to be blurry. It's too big. It's too that. It's like, what are you thinking? Why are you even talking to me about this? So my idea today for tattoo placement is to come up with where you want your tattoo first and then pick the design instead of the other way around. And what you're going to do is you're going to alleviate finding and fixating on this one tattoo that you really want, but you can't put it where you want it. So, for example, if you're out there and you're like, I want a hand tattoo. Well, then, Tracy says, do you ever video your tattoo sessions? I do and I don't. I do have some videos up of me getting my leg tattoos because it was the easiest to film. And those are here on YouTube. And it really depends on the artist. I mean, it's kind of intrusive to be like, hey, I am going to videotape you while you are tattooing. And then a lot of times it depended on me and what kind of experience I wanted. If it was a real kind of like, this is a real healing moment and I just want to be with me in this moment so I can heal, I won't film it because I just want it I want it to do the healing that I intended it to be. So long answer to that simple question is I have, but not as often as I could have. So you're out there and you're like, okay, so I want a hand tattoo. What I'm going to suggest is, hold on. We have an update. Here's the latest on the missing Titanic Sub and the race to rescue those. The vessel that was taking 5 people to view the Titanic. So the authorities estimate that there's only enough oxygen in the sub for those on board to survive another 2 days. Ooh. So it says the 20-foot vessel. So it's 21 feet and it's there's 5 people in there. Its name is Titan. Lost control with its control center on Sunday. An hour and 45 minutes into the dive. Why was the sub diving? We already know that it was looking for the Titanic. And it says, why did the vessel go missing? It is still unclear why the sub lost communication with its control crew on the expedition ship. Which is kind of scary because, like Tiggy says, they don't have their own controls. It's controlled on board. What's it like inside the Titan? So it's I couldn't help notice how many pieces of the sub seemed improvised. That's kind of scary. A single plastic box and some Ziploc bags stand in for a toilet. Okay, so if you were thinking that, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even like put 2 and 2 together. It's like, hey, I'm going on an expedition. Where am I to the bottom of the sea? Where am I going to the bathroom? And that just explains it. It's a plastic bag. It's some Ziploc bags and a plastic box, which is gross. In whole, the space inside is about the size of a minivan, not tall enough for somebody to fully stand. So if I'm creeping you out, I am so sorry. I'm not going to keep talking about this because I'm creeping myself out. So no, we will not be taking this live show into a submarine to visit the bottom of the ocean anytime soon. So let me get back to my topic, and that is tattoo placement. And I came across a really cool article. This is called Tattooing 101. And it's an article that I read that was really kind of specifically, it was for both people getting tattoos and for tattoo artists, which I really like the simple fact that they were addressing both sides of the conversation. Because sometimes it becomes a us versus them kind of mentality. Because I know myself going in to get a tattoo, I have this ideology of where I want it and what I want, and it's not a reasonable expectation, meaning that the artist needs more room. There's too many fine details for where I want to put it. So it becomes, like I said, almost an us versus them mentality. It's us wanting something and it's them telling us no. So the simple fact that this was addressed to both artist and customer, I thought it was pretty cool. So tattoo placement simply means where on the body you want to put a tattoo, which we already know that. And it says tattoo placement chart. Match your tattoo placement to the design size. So they have basically broken it down into small, medium, and large tattoos. So if you want a small tattoo, what they're saying is don't get a tiny tattoo and put it on an area that will fit a large tattoo. And I agree and disagree in some context, because if you want a smaller tattoo in a spot where it could actually hold a larger tattoo, make sure you get a design that you can add to. And so then that way, if you do want that larger tattoo, it can blend all the way in it. But it says the areas that you could put a small tattoo. When I get somewhere, the first thing I ask is where the bathroom is. Absolutely, Linda. And you know what? And I guess, uh, yeah, because I always like to know where the bathroom is. And if somebody's going to hand me a Ziploc bag, I'm going to have to think twice about, going to the bottom of the ocean. Okay, small areas for tattoos. If you want a small tattoo, the areas that is the best place to put a small tattoo, which I agree, is the wrist, the back of the palm, which is a hand tattoo, top of the foot, very painful, fingers. I think finger tattoos are cool, but remember they don't last as long. Ankle, behind the ear, above the elbow, and your knee. Gosh, they picked some really painful spots. Now, a medium tattoo is basically, they say, a long, kind of skinny area, which would be your forearm, calves, shins, neck, shoulder, upper arm, shoulder blade, inner thigh, and sternum. Again, they picked out some really painful spots. Larger tattoos would be upper thigh, upper back, lower back, chest, stomach, hips, and ribs. Extra large would be basically like a back tattoo that covers all the way down your buttocks. And then just goes on to basically stating again, just your different placements and all of that. And then an interesting thing is it's like when you're figuring out your placement to match your tattoo, do tattoo placements have meanings? And they said no, they really don't. I mean, they did mention like a lower back tattoo and the stigma that had during the 2000s, but that's again really silly and just needs to permanently go away. Now they did, and I'll tag this. Let me make a note. I want to tag this article in the description down below, tag article, because they said that there's a thing called Ink Hunter. And what it is, it's an app for your phone to where you load up the tattoo that you want. So if you find the design that you want and you can't figure out how it's going to look, the placement on your body or anything like that, you take this app, you load the tattoo into it, and you take a picture of your body part where you want to put it, and it's going to show you what it's going to look like. And I thought that was a really cool and interesting way for you to figure out the placement of your tattoo. For one thing, you can see how big it's going to be. You can see if the design is too small for the area you want to put it. You can see if the tattoo is too big for the area you want to put it. And I again thought it was a really cool way to figure out your tattoo placement. Now, if you don't want to do that and you don't want to download anything more to your phone, then another thing you can do is you can print up a picture of the tattoo that you want to get, cut it out, and then tape it to your body and see how it looks. See if you like it. See if it's something that is aesthetically pleasing to you, because believe it or not, it's going to be there forever, and you want to make sure that the tattoo that you picked out is going to fit on your skin. I mean, I'm not a very big person. I'm only 5'2". And so a lot of my tattoo designs that I had originally come up with, I'm like, wow, this is great. And Brian would be like, you're not that big, right? I'm like, oh, I guess it's not that great. So he always helped me come up with a good alternative. But I think that doing a little help on your own, or doing a little research on your own, gives you a little bit more sense of power, because again, you don't want to go in with expectations of what you want and just to be told no, and then have your tattoo session be kind of like, meh, I really wanted this and I ended up with something else. So absolutely 100%, 100% do as much research research as you can. Now, I personally say like the areas on your body, let's just say you want to get a shoulder tattoo. You're like, I really want to tattoo my shoulder. Well, you have to remember that your shoulder is not a flat surface. Your shoulder has some bend to it. It's rounded. And if you walk into your tattoo shop and you're like, I want symmetrically straight lines on a surface that is not straight, you're setting yourself up for failure. I mean, you really are. It's hard for an artist to be, for one thing, perfect because they're humans, you're human, your skin is pliable. So it has a tendency to have a little bit more of issues. So my suggestion is anywhere on your body that is not as flat as possible, go ahead and get a design that has shape to it. One of the reasons I like floral tattoos so much is that floral tattoos give the artist the opportunity to design, to draw, to tattoo, to contour with my body. Because if you look at a flower or if you look at a leaf or a tree, they're not straight. I mean, there's nothing, unless you want to get like a stalk of corn tattooed on your body, which is, if you like corn, go for it. But most like vines or trees or flowers, they have movement, and that enables and allows the tattoo artist to again go with the movement of your body. You could do like water. I mean, water has movement. They could do that. You could do an animal. Again, an animal is a shape. So you just, depending on where you want your body tattoo, do the research of what design will look best for this body part. Because like I said, I don't have very many tattoos that have straight lines. I do have one on my calf, and Brian purposely put it at an angle because there was no way. Oh, Iron Maven says you are an inspiration, so thank you very much. There was no way Brian was ever going to get a straight line on my calf because my calf is not straight. So he purposely askewed it a little bit so it wouldn't look like it wasn't straight. So I get comments all the time. They're like, man, your artist really messed up. That's not straight. I'm like, it's not straight because it's not straight. It was never meant to be straight. It's meant to be at an angle to go with the contour of my calf. So again, just opinions runneth amok when it comes to tattoos. So pick your body part that you want tattooed, do some research, find a style, find a design, and find a size that's going to fit in that area. And that is going to help you have the best tattoo experience. That's going to help you pick the tattoo that you want and you like for years and years and years. And it's just one more way to not have tattoo regret. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I was at the grocery store, years ago, and I'm standing in line, and the lady in front of me had a tattoo. Okay, no big deal. And the cashier was like, oh, that's a cool tattoo. And the lady instantly was like, I don't like it. And I'm like, wow, I don't hear that very often. And she's like, yeah. She goes, my friends and I were out drinking and I got this and I don't like it. And I'm like, oh, that's unfortunate. But, it just kind of shocked me because I don't think I've ever been tattooed in that manner. So then when I got to the cashier, I'm like, waiting for her to be like, well, do you like your tattoos? And of course, I'm like, I don't need anybody to ask me a question. I can just start talking to you. And I'm like, I don't regret my tattoos. My tattoos all have this and my tattoos all have that. And I think I've been really fortunate in my tattoo journey in the simple fact that I don't really think I've ever been in a hurry for a tattoo. I've put a lot of emotions and a lot of thoughts into my tattoos. I mean, I only have one flash tattoo. And what a flash tattoo is, it's when you walk in. This is so old school, but this is how long I've been getting tattooed. You would walk into a shop and you'd be like, you would look at all these drawings on the board, all right? You had no idea who did what, but you'd be like, Mm, ooh, that one right there. I'll take 42B. And then they would take the stencil out and then they would give you that tattoo. And that's what I have on my lower back. So I have a lower back flash tattoo. But that's how we used to get tattooed 25 years ago. So that's the only flash tattoo I have, but I have no bad memories or association with that tattoo because I remember getting it. In fact, my new follower, I saw him, he's a friend of mine that I've had for years. I just saw him in the grocery store and he just started following me on YouTube. He's like, hey, wasn't I with you when you got one of your tattoos? And I'm like, hey, yeah, you were. You were there when I got my lower back tattoo. And it's not like I walk around and wishing like, oh, I wish that wasn't there. No, it was just a really cool time in my life where I got to just be spontaneous, walk in, be like, I'll take that. And it's a flower in the very small of the very low. It's really super low. It's low. And I have one flower, it's a daisy, and then I have little vines going off from it. And I have to tell you, between that one and behind my ear, I forget they're there 90% of the time. And until I started talking about it, it's not something that I see on a daily basis. And like I said, I forget it's there. And when I get out of the shower, I don't look behind me. So but it's cool. Like I said, it reminds me of a time in my life where I could be like, hey, you know what? I can do this, and I did it. And I think that that's how we need to go into more tattoos. Because just like everything else with society, we have this fixation on perfection. And we have this fixation on being up with the times. And we want to be modern. All right. And a story in regards to that is my very first tattoo. My lower back one was my second tattoo. But my very first tattoo is a barbed wire around my ankle that I got in an outlaw shop out in the middle of the desert with my sister and my kids and her children. And if you don't know what an outlaw tattoo shop is, it's basically owned by a motorcycle club. And that's where we went to go get my very first tattoo. So it looks like I got that tattoo while serving time. Let's just put it that way. And I love it. And I went through a phase where I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do? You know what? My tattoo looks like I got it in prison. And I was like, I didn't like it, but I always kept it. Now, fast forward to today, it's 28 years old, and I was getting tattooed by Austin Maples in LA, totally like modern, up-to-date artist. And every artist in the shop that was walking by while Austin was tattooing my leg was like, oh my gosh, that is the coolest tattoo ever. And I'm like, yeah, Austin's doing a really good job. And they're like, no, we're talking about the barbed wire. And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, that is so old school. That's the way that, we don't tattoo like that anymore. That's really cool that you have such a vintage retro tattoo. So if you're out there and you have some tattoo regret because you think your tattoo is not as modern as it should be, don't worry about it. You know what? Just give it 28 years and it's going to turn out to be totally retro. And then people are going to like it because they're tattooing in a different way. And it's all about perspective. It's all about just appreciating your journey and the ink that's on your skin during your journey and letting go of that ideology that we have to always be modern and we always have to be trendy and we always have to be like, I don't know, young. I mean, maybe we don't like these older tattoos because it reminds us that we're older. I don't know, but I like my old school tattoos now just as much as I like my newer tattoos. And it's because it just shows my journey. So don't worry about if you're younger, don't worry about getting a tattoo today. Maybe the style is going to be around, maybe it's not going to be around. But what's going to be around is you, your thoughts, your emotions, your timestamp of where you were when you got your tattoo. So don't worry about that. Just get it, enjoy it, take care of it, put sunscreen on it. And when you're 58 years old like me, you can look back and you can be like, oh, I remember when I got that one. It's like Linda says, it's all part of your tattoo journey. Yeah, it's all part of my journey of life. I mean, that's just the whole thing. My life has been very colorful. And yeah, it is just, I don't know. Like I said, I was talking with I had coffee with my best friend from junior high, and I was telling her some stories about what I was doing when I'd been drinking. And she's like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It was super cringeworthy. Thankfully, I'm alive today, and it's just all part of my journey. No regrets, no guilt, no nothing like that. It's what makes me spunky today. And so that's your tattoo placement. And again, don't put so much emphasis on perfection. Just Iron Maven says so true. Yeah. And we just have to learn to embrace our journey instead of trying to form it into something that we think it's supposed to be. I was a single mom. I left Robert and Brandon's dad when Robert was 7 and Brandon was 5. And we lived on a cul-de-sac, and I was the only single mom. And it really bothered me when I was younger and the kids were younger, because I felt like, I don't know why I'm thinking about this right now, but I always felt like I was robbing them of something. And little did I know that I wasn't robbing them of something. We were just living a different experience. All right. We didn't get the mom and the dad and the Christmas presents galore. I mean, that wasn't our journey, but it didn't make it a bad journey. It just made it ours. So we just have to let go of this ideology of what our life is supposed to look like, and just embrace it for what it is. That's where I was going with that subject. Because again, we rob ourselves of happiness when we have this idea of what life should be like. And if it doesn't match what it actually is, we tell ourselves then it's not good. And life is good in multiple different ways, in multiple different versions, and multiple different ways. So let go again of what society tells you. Let go of this envisionment. And now I'm not saying you can't have dreams, and I'm not saying you can't better your life. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is like, don't try to be so fixated on how your life is supposed to be that you don't just let it develop and you rob yourself of happiness. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't want it to ever be like, well, Lonni on her live today said that we're not allowed to dream big. And I'm like, that is not what I'm saying. I say dream bigger, be brighter, be bolder, be braver, and be everything you want to be. That is what I say. Right, Brandon? Brandon says yes. And then, so I am going to go and walk my fur baby, and hopefully I don't splat on the street. If you didn't know this or not, but Indy tripped me the other day. I lost all sorts of skin on my knee. I actually scraped up my elbow right there, and I was really worried because I don't know if you all have your elbows tattooed or not, but it is extremely painful. And I'm like, if I lose ink on my elbow, I'm going to be so upset because I do not want to have that one redone, but I don't think it's deep enough to even worry about. So I'm going to walk my dog. I'm going to continue to work on my day in the life. You're hanging out with me. And tomorrow, again, remember, it's going to be makeup. I'm going to do the Barbie contouring hack to see if we can make me look like Barbie, because I think I am so anti-Barbie. It's ridiculous. But that doesn't mean that, Barbie's a bad thing. It's just a different vibe than what I have. So, gosh, what am I looking at? What am I? Oh, that's what I was looking at. I was looking at something on the computer. I was trying to get a statistic, and then for some reason I couldn't find it. So until tomorrow, remember, be bright, be bold, be brave, get a tattoo, stay out of submarines. Hot air balloons are iffy. And once again, I'm going to tell you right now, if you feel like you have a problem with any sort of substance, do not be embarrassed. Do not be ashamed. Seek help. And it is never, ever, ever too late to find sobriety and to find happiness. So until tomorrow, remember, be bright, be bold, be brave. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye, everyone.